The phone rang while I was sitting at my kitchen table. It was a Tuesday evening. I looked at the screen and saw Mom. Even after everything, a small part of me still hoped she was calling just to hear my voice. I hoped she wanted to know how my week was going. I picked up the phone. I said, "Hi, Mom." There was no pause. There was no, "Hello, Marley." There was no, "How are you?" Her voice was cold and sharp. She said 3 words. "Where's my money?" I sat there, frozen. My hand gripped the phone tight. I didn't say anything for a moment. In that silence, something inside me finally broke. I realized the truth I had been ignoring for years. I wasn't a daughter to her. I wasn't a person with feelings or a life of my own. I was just an ATM. I was just a paycheck she felt entitled to. She didn't care if I was happy. She only cared if the transfer went through. That phone call didn't just hurt my feelings. It woke me up. That was the moment I decided I was done paying for a family that couldn't afford to love me. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me, where in the world are you watching from? To understand why I cut my family off, you have to understand where I came from. You have to understand that this didn't happen overnight. It was a slow burn. It was a fire that started when I was very small, and I was the only one trying to put it out. My story really starts when I was 6 years old. That was the year my biological father died. I don't have many clear memories of him, but I remember the feeling of him. I remember he used to lift me up so I could touch the ceiling. I remember he smelled like sawdust and peppermint gum. When he died in a car accident, my world went gray. My mother, Janet, fell apart. For a long time, I felt like I had lost both parents. She was there physically, but her eyes were empty. She spent days in bed with the curtains drawn. I learned how to make my own peanut butter sandwiches. I learned how to turn on the TV quietly so I wouldn't wake her. I learned that if I wanted love, I had to be invisible. I had to be the good girl who didn't cause any trouble. Then, 2 years later, Robert came into our lives. Robert Grant was a good man. He was kind. He was steady. He didn't try to replace my dad, but he filled the empty space in the house. He married my mother, and for a little while, things felt normal again. My mom started laughing again. She started cooking dinner again. Robert treated me well. He asked me about school. He taught me how to ride a bike without training wheels. I started to relax. I thought, okay, we're a family now. We are safe. But then, my mother got pregnant. When I was 10 years old, my brother Tyler was born. And the moment they brought him home from the hospital, the dynamic in the house changed forever. It wasn't just that babies need a lot of attention. I understood that. I was 10. I was old enough to know that a baby cries and needs feeding. It was something else. It was the way my mother looked at him. She looked at Tyler like he was a miracle. She looked at him like he was made of glass and gold. When she looked at me, she just saw Marley. She saw the daughter who was already there. The daughter who was fine. Robert tried to keep things fair. He really did. If he bought Tyler a toy car, he bought me a book or a new shirt. He made sure I got a turn to choose the movie on Friday nights. He was the buffer. He was the wall standing between me and my mother's clear favoritism. But he couldn't stop everything. I remember one specific Saturday when I was 12. I had spent all week working on a science project. It was a model of the solar system. I had painted the styrofoam balls carefully. I had used fishing line to hang them inside a cardboard box. It was perfect. I was so proud of it. I left it on the dining room table to dry. Tyler was 2 years old then. He was running around the house, screaming and laughing. My mom was in the kitchen on the phone. I was in my room reading. I heard a crash. I ran out to the dining room. Tyler had climbed onto a chair and pulled my science project down. It was smashed. The planets were crushed. The black paint was smeared on the rug. Tyler was sitting there, looking at the mess, and then he started to cry. My mother ran in. She didn't look at my broken project. She didn't look at my face, which was already wet with tears. She scooped Tyler up into her arms. "Oh, my poor baby," she cooed. "Did you get scared? Did the loud noise scare you?" I stood there, shaking. "He broke it," I said. My voice was small. "He broke my project. It's due on Monday." My mother turned to me. Her eyes were cold. "Marley, don't yell. You scared him." "But he ruined it," I shouted. It was the first time I raised my voice. "I worked so hard on that." "It's just a school project," she snapped. He's a baby. He didn't know. You shouldn't have left it on the table where he could reach it. This is your fault for not being careful. That was the lesson. It was always my fault. If Tyler broke something, I shouldn't have left it there. If Tyler screamed, I was being too loud. If Tyler hit me, I must have provoked him. As we got older, the gap got wider. I was expected to be perfect. I had to get straight A's. If I got a B, my mother would ask, "Why didn't you study harder?" I had to do chores. I did the dishes. I vacuumed the living room. I folded the laundry. Tyler was expected to do nothing. He was the sensitive child. That was my mother's favorite word for him. Sensitive. Tyler is too sensitive for chores, she would say. He needs his rest. Tyler is too creative for math, she would say when he failed a test. The teacher doesn't understand his genius. By the time we were teenagers, the roles were set in stone. I was the worker. I was the responsible one. I was the one who didn't need anything. Tyler was the prince. He was the one who needed everything. I got a job at 16 working at a grocery store. I bought my own car. I paid for my own gas. I bought my own clothes. Tyler turned 16, and my parents bought him a brand new truck. My mom said, "Well, he needs a safe car to get to school." "I drive a rusted sedan with 200,000 miles on it," I said. "Isn't my safety important?" "You're a better driver," she said, dismissing me. Tyler needs help. Robert looked uncomfortable during these conversations. He would slip me $100 sometimes and say, "I'm proud of you, Marley." But he never stood up to her. He loved her too much to fight her on this. He let her create a monster. I learned to stop asking for things. I learned to stop expecting fairness. I just focused on my plan: finish school, get a job, and get out. I thought if I just worked hard enough, I could escape them. I thought once I was an adult, the dynamic would change. I was wrong. It didn't change. It just got more expensive. The turning point happened 4 years ago. I was 24. I had moved out. I had a small apartment and a decent job as a paralegal. I was finally breathing on my own. I went home for Sunday dinners, but I kept my distance emotionally. Then Robert died. It was a massive heart attack. It happened in the driveway on a Saturday morning while he was washing the car. By the time the ambulance got there, he was gone. The funeral was a blur. But what I remember most is looking at my mother and my brother. My mother was 55, but she looked 80. She was completely broken. Robert had done everything for her. He paid the bills. He called the plumber. He mowed the lawn. He managed the retirement accounts. Without him, she was like a child lost in a supermarket. And Tyler? Tyler was 22 years old. He was a grown man. But he sat at the funeral playing a game on his phone under the pew. He wasn't crying. He looked annoyed that he had to wear a suit. After the funeral, everyone went home. The casseroles stopped coming. The flowers wilted. And the reality set in. 2 weeks after Robert died, my mother called me. She was crying hysterically. "Marley, they're going to turn off the lights," she sobbed. I left work and drove over. I found her sitting at the kitchen table surrounded by envelopes. "I don't know how to do this," she said. "Robert always did this." I looked at the bill. It was 3 months overdue. She hadn't opened mail in months, even before he died maybe. "It's okay, Mom," I said. "I'll handle it." I called the electric company. I paid the bill from my own savings account. I sat down and organized all the paperwork. I set up auto pay for the water, the gas, and the internet. "Thank you, Marley," she said, wiping her eyes. "I don't know what I'd do without you. You're so strong. You're just like your father." Those words felt like a trap, but I didn't know it yet. "You're so strong." That didn't mean she admired me. It meant she could use me. I thought this was temporary. I told myself, she is grieving. She just lost her husband. I have to step up. This is what family does. But temporary turned into forever. A month later, the washing machine broke. My mom called me, not a repairman. "I don't have the money for a new one," she said. "The life insurance hasn't come through yet." I bought the washing machine. Cost $600. 2 months later, Tyler got a speeding ticket. My mom called me. "He can't afford it, Marley. If he doesn't pay, he'll lose his license. Then he can't look for a job." "Why doesn't he have a job now?" I asked. "It's been 6 months since Dad died." "He's grieving," she snapped. "He takes it harder than you. He's a boy. He needs time." I paid the ticket. Cost $250. It became a pattern. Every month, there was something. The roof leaked. The car needed tires. The property tax was due. My mother's small pension wasn't enough to cover their lifestyle, mostly because their lifestyle included supporting a 22-year-old man who refused to work. Tyler was living in the house for free. He slept until noon. He played video games until 4 a.m. He ate the food I bought. He used the electricity I paid for. He drove the truck my parents bought him, using gas money my mother gave him. One night, about a year after Robert died, I went over for dinner. The house was a mess. There were pizza boxes piled up in the living room. The sink was full of dishes. I started washing the dishes because I couldn't stand the smell. "Where's Tyler?" I asked.
"He's in his room," Mom said.
She was watching TV. "Mom, he needs to help," I said. I scrubbed a pan aggressively. "He is 23. He isn't working. He isn't going to school. He could at least do the dishes." My mother sighed. She paused the TV. "Why are you always so hard on him? Hard on him?" I turned around, soap dripping from my hands. "Mom, I am paying your electric bill. I am paying for his phone plan. I come over here 3 times a week to help you. What does he do?" "He provides me company," she said. Her voice was defensive. "He is here with me. You have your own life. You leave. Tyler stays." That stung. "I leave because I have to work," I said. "I work to pay for this house." "You don't have to throw money in my face," she said. "Family helps family. Robert would be so disappointed to hear you talking like this. You're being selfish." Selfish. I was working 50 hours a week. I hadn't bought myself new clothes in a year because my spare money went to them. I was exhausted. I had dark circles under my eyes. And she called me selfish, but I didn't leave. I didn't stop paying.
Why?
Because of the guilt. Because she was a widow. Because she was my mother. And because, deep down, a stupid, small part of me thought that if I just did enough, if I paid enough bills, if I fixed enough problems, she would finally look at me the way she looked at Tyler. I thought I could buy her love. But you can't buy something that isn't for sale. The entitlement grew worse. It wasn't just emergencies anymore. "Marley, I need cash for groceries." I would send $200. She would buy steaks and expensive snacks for Tyler. "Marley, the internet is slow. Tyler can't game." I upgraded the plan. "Marley, Tyler's truck needs a new transmission." That was the big one. The transmission was $1,500. "I can't do that, Mom," I said. "I don't have that kind of extra cash right now." "But he needs his truck," she panicked. "How will he get around? He doesn't go anywhere." I argued. "He stays in his room. He's depressed," she said. "Driving makes him feel better." "Please, Marley, put it on a credit card. I'll pay you back when the estate settles." She never paid me back. Not a cent. For 3 years, this went on. I became the husband she lost, and the father Tyler never had to be. I carried the weight of 3 adults on my shoulders. I was drowning, and they were using me as a raft. And through all of it, Tyler never said thank you. Not once. He would walk past me in the kitchen, wearing headphones, grabbing a soda from the fridge I stocked, and not even nod at me. He had a girlfriend now, Kayla. She was just like him. She started hanging around the house, eating the food, using the Wi-Fi. Sometimes I would come over and find them both on the couch, watching movies, while my mother cooked for them. "Hi, Marley," Kayla would say, without looking up. I felt like a ghost in my own family. I was only visible when the check came. I kept telling myself it would get better. I kept telling myself, eventually, Tyler will grow up. Eventually, Mom will appreciate me. I didn't know that a bomb was ticking. I didn't know that while I was writing checks and losing sleep, my mother was making plans that would cut me out completely. I was trying to save the family. She was securing the favorite. And I was about to find out exactly how little I mattered. The day my life changed didn't start with a fight. It started with a favor. It was a Tuesday afternoon in November. It was raining. I remember the rain hitting the windshield of my car as I drove to my mother's house. I was tired. I had worked a 10-hour shift at the law firm, and I just wanted to go home, put on sweatpants, and sleep. But my mother had called me 3 times. "I can't find the deed to the house," she had said. "I need to file for the homestead exemption tax. The deadline is Friday. Please, Marley. You know where everything is." My eyes are getting bad. So like always, I went. When I got there, the house was warm. The TV was on. Tyler was on the couch with his girlfriend, Kayla. They were eating takeout pizza. The smell of pepperoni and grease filled the room. "Hey," I said. Tyler didn't look away from the TV. Kayla just mumbled, "Hey." I walked past them to the kitchen. My mother was sitting at the table with a pile of papers. She looked stressed. "Thank God you're here," she said. "This mess is giving me a headache." "It's okay, Mom," I said. I put my purse down. "I'll find it." I went into the small home office. This used to be Robert's room. It still smelled like his old books. There was a metal filing cabinet in the corner. I knew this cabinet well because I was the one who organized it after he died. I was the one who made the labels: taxes, insurance, house, medical. I opened the drawer. I started flipping through the folders. My fingers stopped on a thick manila envelope. It wasn't in the right place. It was stuffed in the back, behind the old tax returns. It had a new label on it, written in my mother's shaky handwriting. Last Will and Testament, updated August 2024. I froze. August 2024. That was only 3 months ago. I knew Robert had a will. It was simple, everything to my mother. And if she died, everything was supposed to be split 50-50 between me and Tyler. That was what Robert told me years ago. He said, "I want to be fair." Curiosity got the better of me. My heart started beating fast. I pulled the envelope out. I opened it. I wasn't snooping. I was the executor of the estate, or at least I thought I was. I needed to know what was in there. I started reading. The legal language was simple enough for me to understand because of my job. Janet Grant, being of sound mind, I skipped to the distribution of assets. Article 3, Distribution of Property. I hereby leave my home, located at 14 Maple Drive, to my son, Tyler Grant. I blinked. I read it again. Maybe I missed something. Maybe it said to be shared.
No.
To my son, Tyler Grant. I kept reading. I leave the contents of my savings account ending in 8890, to my son, Tyler Grant. I leave my life insurance policy residuals to my son, Tyler Grant. I leave the 2018 Toyota Camry to my son, Tyler Grant. I scanned the page frantically. I was looking for my name. Where was Marley? Finally, I found it. It was at the very bottom, in a small paragraph. To my daughter, Marley Grant, I leave the antique dining room set and my collection of photo albums. She is capable and independent, and therefore does not require financial assistance. I stood there in the quiet office. The sound of the TV from the living room felt miles away. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. It wasn't about the money. I have my own money.
I have a job.
I have savings. I didn't need her money. It was about what the money represented. For 4 years, I had paid the mortgage on this house. I had paid the insurance on that car. I had put groceries in the refrigerator. I had fixed the roof over their heads. I was paying for the asset that she was giving to him. I was literally buying my brother a house. I looked at the date again. August. Just 3 months ago. I remembered August. In August, my car broke down. I needed a new alternator. It cost me $400. I didn't have the cash because I had just given my mother $500 to pay for Tyler's dental surgery. He had a tooth infection because he didn't brush his teeth well. I paid for it. And the same week I paid for his teeth, she walked into a lawyer's office and signed everything over to him. She looked at me, struggling to fix my car, and thought, Marley is fine. She looked at Tyler, sitting on the couch doing nothing, and thought, he needs everything. Marley? My mother's voice called from the kitchen. Did you find it? I quickly shoved the will back into the envelope. My hands were shaking so hard, I almost dropped it. I put it back in the drawer. I took a deep breath. I grabbed the folder marked house deed and walked out. I walked into the kitchen. My face felt hot. I felt sick.
Here it is, I said.
My voice sounded strange. It was tight and high. Oh, wonderful, she said. She didn't look at my face. She took the folder. You're a lifesaver. Do you want some pizza? Tyler left 2 slices. I looked at the pizza box. I looked at the door to the living room where Tyler was laughing at the TV. I looked at my mother. She looked small and frail. She looked like the woman I had been protecting for 4 years. But suddenly, she looked like a stranger. No, I said. I have to go. Already? She looked up, surprised. But you just got here. I wanted to tell you about my doctor's appointment. I have a headache. I lied. I need to go home. Okay, she said. She turned her attention back to the papers. Drive safe. Oh, and Marley? Can you transfer the money for the internet bill tonight? It's due tomorrow. The internet bill. So Tyler could play his games in the house I was paying for, which would soon belong to him.
Sure, Mom, I said.
I walked out of the house. I got into my car. I didn't cry. I sat there in the driveway for 5 minutes, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I didn't scream. I didn't go back inside and throw the table over. I just drove home in the rain. But on that drive, something inside me died. The Marley who wanted to be a good daughter. The Marley who wanted to save everyone. She didn't make it home that night. I didn't go back for 3 days. I needed time to think. I needed to make sure I wasn't crazy. I replayed the last 4 years in my head. Every check I wrote. Every time I canceled plans with friends to help my mom. Every time I wore old shoes so I could buy Tyler new tires. I realized I had been investing in a business that was never going to pay me back. I knew I had to confront her. If I didn't, it would eat me alive. But I needed to do it calmly. I didn't want a screaming match. I wanted answers. On Saturday morning, I drove back to the house. It was a bright, sunny day. The grass was long. Tyler hadn't mowed it, of course. I usually paid a landscape guy to do it, but I hadn't sent the check this month. I used my key to let myself in. The house was quiet. Tyler was still asleep. It was 10 a.m. My mother was in the kitchen making coffee. She was wearing her bathrobe. "Marley," she said, smiling. "I didn't know you were coming over. I was just about to call you. The dishwasher is making a funny noise."
I didn't smile back.
I stood in the doorway of the kitchen. I kept my purse on my shoulder. I didn't want to get comfortable.
"We need to talk," I said.
The tone of my voice made her stop. She put the coffee pot down. Her smile faded. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Are you sick?" "I found the will," I said. I didn't drag it out. I just said it. My mother went still. She looked at the counter. She picked up a teaspoon and started fidgeting with it. She didn't look surprised that I found it. She just looked annoyed that she had been caught. "I see," she said. Her voice was flat. "You left everything to Tyler," I said. "The house, the money, the car, everything." She turned to face me. She crossed her arms over her chest. "It is my money, Marley. I can do what I want with it." "It's not just your money," I said. My voice was shaking, but I forced it to be steady. "I've been paying the mortgage on this house for 4 years. I paid off the credit card debt Dad left. I pay the utilities. I pay for the food in this fridge." "And that was very kind of you," she said. "You helped your family." "Helped." I laughed. It was a dry, humorless sound. "Mom, I supported this family. And in return, you decided that when you die, the brother who has never contributed a single dollar gets everything? And I get photo albums." "Tyler needs security," she said. She spoke as if she was explaining something to a toddler. "Look at you, Marley. You have a career. You have a nice apartment. You are strong. You know how to survive." "I know how to survive because I had to." I stepped closer. "I didn't have a choice. Tyler is different," she said. Her eyes went soft. That same look she always had for him. "He is sensitive. The world is too hard for him. If I don't leave him the house, where will he go? He can't make it on his own like you can. He is 26 years old." I shouted. "He isn't a child. He is a man who refuses to grow up because you never let him." "Lower your voice," she hissed. "You'll wake him up. Let him wake up,"
I said.
"Let him hear this." She slammed her hand on the counter. "Stop it. You are being greedy. This is just money. Why do you care so much about money?" "It's not the money." I felt tears stinging my eyes. "It's what it means, Mom. It means you don't value me. It means you think my sacrifice is worth nothing. It means you don't care about my future, only his." She looked me dead in the eye. And then she said the thing that finally broke the chain. "Marley, you have to understand," she said calmly. "I love you. You are my daughter. But Tyler needs me. I have always had to love him more because he needs more. That is a mother's job." "You love him more?" I whispered. "I love him differently," she corrected. But we both knew what she meant. "You were always like Robert.
Cold.
Independent. You never needed me to hold your hand.
Tyler needs me.
He is my baby. And I will not apologize for protecting him." She took a sip of her coffee. She looked completely unbothered. She felt justified. In her mind, punishing the successful child to save the lazy child was the moral thing to do. "You think I'm cold?" I asked quietly.
Sometimes, she said.
Like right now. You are counting pennies instead of caring about your brother's well-being. I nodded slowly. The sadness evaporated. The hurt evaporated. All that was left was clarity. It was like a fog had lifted from the room. I saw her clearly for the first time. She wasn't a victim. She wasn't a helpless widow. She was a woman who had made a choice. She chose Tyler. Again and again and again. And by choosing him so completely, she had chosen to lose me. Okay, I said. Okay, she asked. She looked relieved. She thought she had won. She thought I was accepting it.
Good.
I'm glad we cleared that up. Now, about the dishwasher? I'm not fixing the dishwasher, I said.
What?
She frowned. I'm not fixing the dishwasher, I repeated. And I'm not paying the internet bill. Today. Marley, don't be childish, she warned. Just because you're mad doesn't mean you can stop helping. You said I'm strong, I said. I backed away toward the door. You said I'm independent. You said Tyler needs you. I put my hand on the doorknob. So, let Tyler fix the dishwasher. Let Tyler pay the internet bill. If he gets the house, he should start paying for it. He has no money, she shouted. Panic flared in her eyes for the first time. You can't do this. I can, I said, because I'm strong. Remember? Marley, she screamed. If you walk out that door. Goodbye, Mom, I said. I opened the door and walked out into the sunlight. I heard her yelling my name as I walked to my car. I heard the front door open. I didn't look back. I got in my car, started the engine, and drove away. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I wasn't going back there. For the first time in my life, I wasn't thinking about what they needed. I was thinking about what I needed. And what I needed was to be free. I drove straight to my apartment, but I didn't go inside immediately. I sat in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes. My hands were still shaking, but my mind was incredibly clear. It was a strange feeling, like the calm after a terrible storm. I walked up the stairs to my apartment, opened my laptop, and sat at my desk. I didn't cry. I didn't call a friend to vent. I had work to do. I logged into my bank account. I looked at the list of automatic transfers. Grant Family Mortgage, $1,200 per month. Grant Family Utilities, $350 per month. Tyler Phone, $80 per month. Mom Cell, $60 per month. Car insurance, Tyler, $140 per month. It was staggering. Seeing it all listed there in black and white made me feel sick. That was almost $2,000 a month. That was nearly half my paycheck. I had been living in a small one-bedroom apartment, driving an old car and skipping vacations so I could send that money to people who thought I was cold. I clicked on the first transfer. Cancel. A little box popped up. Are you sure you want to cancel this recurring payment? I clicked yes. I did it again. And again.
And again.
Cancel. 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 With every click, I felt lighter. It was physical. The tightness in my chest started to loosen. Then I called the electric company. Hi, I said to the representative. I need to remove my name and credit card from the account at 14 Maple Drive. Certainly, ma'am. Who will be taking over the billing? Janet Grant, I said. It's her house. I called the internet provider. I'd like to cancel the service at 14 Maple Drive, effective immediately. Is there a reason for the cancellation? The man asked. I don't live there, I said. And I'm done paying for it. It took me about an hour. By 2 p.m., I had severed every single financial tie. I didn't block their numbers yet. I wanted to, but I knew if I blocked them now, they would just show up at my door. I needed to let this play out. I needed them to realize what had actually happened. For the next few weeks, nothing happened. It was strange. I expected an explosion immediately, but bills take time to arrive. The automatic payments I canceled were for the next month. So for a few weeks, my mother and Tyler lived in their bubble, thinking I was just throwing a tantrum. They probably thought, oh, Marley is just mad.
She'll calm down.
She always comes back. During those weeks, I started seeing the money stay in my account. My next paycheck came in, and instead of transferring half of it out, it stayed there. The balance grew. I went to the mall. I bought myself a new pair of boots, expensive leather ones that I had wanted for 3 years. I bought expensive face cream. I ordered sushi for dinner on a Tuesday. It felt like I was stealing, but I was only stealing back my own life. I started sleeping better. The anxiety that usually woke me up at 3 a.m. The worry about did I pay Mom's water bill was gone. It wasn't my bill. It wasn't my water. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. I knew the cycle of their bills. The mortgage was due on the 1st. The electric was due on the 5th. The internet was due on the 10th. November turned into December. The silence from my family was deafening. They didn't call to apologize. They didn't call to ask how I was. They were punishing me with silence, waiting for me to come crawling back with my checkbook. But I wasn't crawling. I was flying. Then came December 12th, the 30-day mark. That was the day the grace periods ended. That was the day the notices would start arriving in the mail. That was the day the reality would hit 14 Maple Drive. I was at work when my phone started buzzing. It buzzed once.
Twice.
Then it just kept vibrating across my desk. I looked at the screen.
Mom.
I let it go to voicemail. 5 minutes later. Tyler. I let it go to voicemail. 10 minutes later. Kayla. I stared at the phone. The fixer in me wanted to answer. The sister in me wanted to explain. But the woman I had become, the woman who read that will, she knew better. I put the phone on Do Not Disturb and went back to work. I didn't answer the phone until 6 p.m. I was safe in my apartment. I poured myself a glass of wine. I sat down on my couch. My phone had 14 missed calls and 22 text messages. Mom, call me now. Mom, the internet is off. Tyler, WTF Marley? Mom, there is a letter from the bank. What did you do? I took a deep breath. I pressed the call button for my mother. She picked up on the first ring. Where is my money? It was the same question she had asked 1,000 times before. But this time, her voice wasn't just entitled. It was panicked. It was high-pitched and trembling. Hello, Mom, I said calmly. Don't you hello me, she screamed. The internet is down. Tyler was in the middle of a tournament. And I got a notice that the electric bill is overdue. Why didn't you pay it? I told you, I said. I told you last month. I'm not paying anymore. I thought you were joking, she yelled. I thought you were just being dramatic. You can't just cut us off. We are your family. I'm not cutting off my family, I said. I'm cutting off my expenses. I'm saving for my own future. Remember? Since I'm so independent. You selfish little, she choked on her words. Put the money back. Transfer it right now. The mortgage is late. Do you know what the late fee is? I don't know, I said. And I don't care. It's Tyler's house, isn't it? Ask Tyler to pay the fee. Put him on. I heard Tyler shouting in the background. Give me the phone. There was a shuffling sound, and then Tyler's voice blasted into my ear. You ruined my game, he shouted. I was ranked. Do you know how much that account is worth? The internet just cut out. Fix it. Fix it right now. I almost laughed. A grown man, screaming about a video game while his mother panicked about a mortgage. Get a job, Tyler, I said. I can't get a job, he screamed. I have anxiety. You know that. You're trying to ruin my life. You're ruining your own life, I said. You're 26. You're not a baby. You own a house now, or you will eventually. Owners pay bills. Mom, Tyler whined, turning away from the phone. Make her fix it. Then I heard another voice. It was Kayla. You're a bitch, Marley. Kayla yelled into the speaker. How can you do this to them? Your mom is old. She's sick. If she's sick, she should use the money she saved by not buying me birthday presents for 10 years, I said. And Kayla? If you're living there, maybe you should chip in. Rent is due. I'm going to sue you, my mother shouted, grabbing the phone back. I will sue you for abandonment. I will tell everyone what a horrible daughter you are. I will tell Aunt Sarah. I will tell the church. Go ahead, I said. My voice was ice cold. Tell them. Tell them you left everything to Tyler in the will. Tell them I paid your bills for 4 years. Tell them everything. I have the bank statements, Mom. If you want to make this public, I will show everyone exactly who paid for what. There was silence on the other end. She knew she couldn't win that fight. She knew if people saw the numbers, her poor widow act would fall apart. Marley, she said, her voice dropping to a desperate whimper. Please. Just this once. We have no groceries. The fridge is empty. It was the guilt trip. The final weapon. I'm hungry, she whispered. My heart squeezed. It hurt. It really hurt. But then I remembered the will. I remembered Tyler needs more. I remembered the new boots I bought myself and how good it felt to not be used. Ask Tyler to sell his gaming computer, I said. That should cover groceries for a month. He can't, she cried. He loves that computer. Then I guess he loves the computer more than he loves feeding you, I said. How can you be so cruel, she sobbed. I learned from the best, I said. Don't call us again, she spat. If you're not going to help, you're dead to us. Okay, I said. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up, and then I did the final thing. I went into my settings. Block contact, Mom. Block contact, Tyler. Block contact, Kayla. I put the phone down on the coffee table. The room was silent. I waited for the guilt to crush me. I waited to feel terrible, but I didn't. I felt clean. I walked to the window and looked out at the city lights. I was alone. I had no parents, no brother, no family. But for the first time in 26 years, I belonged to myself. The explosion was over. The dust was settling, and I was still standing. The silence that followed was the best sound I had ever heard. For the first time in 10 years, my phone didn't ring with a crisis. I didn't wake up to text messages begging for money. I didn't have to leave work early to fix a flat tire for a brother who refused to learn how to change one. But just because I wasn't talking to them didn't mean I didn't know what was happening. We live in a world where everyone talks, and my Aunt Sarah, my mother's sister, was the bridge. About 2 months after the explosion, Aunt Sarah called me. I hadn't blocked her because she had never asked me for money. Marley, she said. Her voice was serious. I went to see your mother yesterday. How is she? I asked. I waited for my stomach to clench, but it didn't. I just felt curious. She looks terrible, Sarah said. The house. Marley, the house is freezing. They're keeping the heat set to 60 degrees because they can't afford the gas bill. That sounds uncomfortable, I said calmly. It's more than uncomfortable, Sarah said. It's a mess. The lawn looks like a jungle. There is trash piled up in the garage. And Tyler is in a mood. Let me guess, I said. He still isn't working. He got a job delivering pizzas, Sarah said. He quit after 3 days. He said the manager was disrespectful to him. I laughed out loud. It wasn't a mean laugh. It was a laugh of pure vindication. Of course he did. Your mother is talking about taking a loan against the house, Sarah warned. She says she has no choice. She says you abandoned them. I didn't abandon them, Aunt Sarah, I said. I retired. I retired from being their bank. Mom has a pension. She has Social Security. The only reason she is broke is because she is feeding 2 able-bodied adults, Tyler and Kayla, who refuse to work. That is her choice. Not mine. She's telling everyone you stole from her, Sarah whispered. Let her tell them, I said. If anyone asks me, I'll show them the receipts. I'll show them the 4 years of mortgage payments I made. Do you want to see them? No, Sarah said quickly. I believe you, Marley. I've seen how Tyler is. I wanted you to know. Thanks, Aunt Sarah. But I don't need to know. Not anymore. I hung up the phone. A strange thing happened over the next 6 months. My life blossomed. It wasn't just the money, although that was huge. For the first time, I had a savings account that was actually growing. I had enough for an emergency fund. I started planning a trip to Italy, something I had dreamed of since I was 12. But the biggest change was my health. My skin cleared up. The dark circles under my eyes vanished. I stopped grinding my teeth in my sleep. I realized that for years I had been carrying a backpack full of rocks. I was walking around exhausted, wondering why life was so hard. Then I took the backpack off, and suddenly I could run. I heard through the grapevine that Tyler eventually sold the truck my parents bought him instead of helping me with college. He had to sell it to pay off credit card debt. He was driving my mom's old sedan now. I heard that Kayla left him. Apparently, once the free money and the expensive date stopped, she realized Tyler wasn't such a great catch. She moved back in with her parents. And my mother? She was still in that house. But she was living the reality she had created. She had chosen Tyler. Now she was stuck with him. She was aging, tired, and broke, waiting on a son who would never be able to take care of her. It was a tragedy. But it wasn't my tragedy. It has been 1 year since I cut them off. I visited my father's grave yesterday. Robert's grave. I brought him flowers. I stood there in the quiet cemetery, and I talked to him. I know you wanted me to take care of them, I said to the headstone. I know you thought you were leaving me in charge, but Dad, you were wrong. I realized something important standing there in the grass. Robert was a good man, but he was an enabler. He loved my mother so much that he couldn't see her faults. He protected her from reality. And when he died, he passed that job to me. But I am not her husband. I am her daughter. Parents are supposed to raise children to leave the nest. They're supposed to want us to fly. My mother didn't want me to fly. She wanted me to stay on the ground and be the foundation for Tyler's castle. I used to feel so guilty. I used to think, what if something happens to them? What if Mom gets sick? What if Tyler ends up on the street? Now I know the truth. If those things happen, they happen. I cannot set myself on fire just to keep them warm. I have found a new family. I have friends who ask me how I am and actually listen to the answer. I have a boyfriend now, a man named David. On our second date, I reached for the check, and he gently pushed my hand away. I got it, he said. You don't have to, I said automatically. I can pay. I'm used to paying. I know you can, he smiled. But you don't have to. We're partners.
Partners.
That word made me cry right there in the restaurant. It felt so foreign. I am not the fixer anymore. I am not the ATM. I am not the invisible daughter. I am Marley. I have scars. I have trust issues that I am working on. I still flinch a little when my phone rings late at night, but I am free. My mother still has my number blocked, or maybe she unblocked it, I don't know, because she is still blocked on mine. I don't hate her. I really don't. I feel sorry for her. She had 2 children. One was ready to give her the world, and the other just wanted to take it. She bet everything on the wrong child. That is her burden to carry. I have put mine down. My name is Marley Grant, and if you have watched this far, I have a feeling you know exactly how I felt. Maybe you are the responsible one in your family. Maybe you are the one they call only when something is broken or unpaid. Maybe you have a sibling who is treated like gold while you are treated like a utility. I want to tell you something that took me 26 years to learn. You do not owe your family your future. Family is a heavy word. People use it as a weapon. They say, but we're family, to make you accept behavior that you would never accept from a stranger. They use it to steal your money, your peace, and your self-esteem. But here's the truth. Love is an action. Love is not just sharing the same DNA. If their love for you depends on what you can pay for, that is not love. That is a transaction. If their love for you disappears when you say no, that is not love. That is control. You are allowed to say stop. You are allowed to keep the money you work hard for. You are allowed to let grown adults face the consequences of their own actions. It will be scary. They will scream. They will call you selfish. They will try to make you feel small. Let them scream, because on the other side of that guilt, there is a life waiting for you. A life where you are the main character, not just the supporting actor in someone else's drama. I chose myself, and it was the best decision I ever made. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you the Marley of your family? Have you ever had to choose your own freedom over your family's expectations? Tell me your story in the comments. Tell me where you are watching from. Let's remind each other that we are not alone, and we are not invisible.